So hello and welcome once again to the Hornby Magazine Workshop. You join myself and Mike here on Topley-Dale, our 00 gauge test track for a brand new exclusive model, the LNER A5. So, Sonic Models have decided to venture into 00 gauge with their first steam engine.
So, well, you mentioned Sonic Models. I'm guessing probably most people watching this video won't have actually heard of Sonic Models before. They are a new manufacturer to the British model railway scene, and their first product is an N-gauge model of the Great Western Railway 56XX 062 tank. That's just arrived in the shops during the first days of August this year. So their very first ready-to-run locomotive. Actually, they did one product before that. They also had the N-gauge model of the VEA box van as well. But this is their next step. This has taken Sonic Models from N-gauge specialism into doing 00 gauge as well. And I've got to say, a mighty fine choice of locomotive as well.
So what is the locomotive, Mike?
So this is a Great Central Railway A5 462 tank. So 462 tanks, quite rare in model form. In fact, actually, I'm not even sure I've ever seen a ready-to-run 462 tank. We've seen 264 tanks, 262 tanks, but not this specific wheel arrangement. I say specific, but actually it is a specific tank because it's a 462 like you get with like an A4 or an A3, which is why in terms of the LNER classification system, it's called an A5 because A means it's specific and 5 is the designation of what type of 462 it is. They were built in the early years of the GCR, so around 1911 was the first one which was constructed, and they were designed by Robinson, which is the Great Central Railway's chief locomotive superintendent, so the man who was also responsible for things like, for example, the Great Central Railway 04280, which is a very famous loco with one being preserved at the Great Central Railway in Loughborough and also being a ready-to-run model. He also did things like the D11 directors as well, which are very well-known locomotives. So family appearance, they will have quite a similar kind of feel to the 04 and the D11 in terms of their character and styling to them. And well, big, bulbous, powerful, purposeful tank engines.
And I'm guessing none still exist today, Mike, because I've not heard of them.
No, well, they were all withdrawn and all disposed of. The last one was withdrawn in 1960. About that time, they were serving in Lincolnshire, Darlington and Hull areas. But yeah, unfortunately, none survived to this day. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the eastern region locomotives were consigned straight to scrap. They didn't go through the fortune of ending up in Woodham Scrapyard in Barrow, like all the Great Western locos. That's how a lot of them got to be with us today, and the southern locomotives as well. So unfortunately, yes, there are none with us today, but that does mean we get the opportunity in model form now to be able to relive the past with these as well.
Moving on to the model, these are obviously very early samples. What else do we know about them?
Okay, so the samples first. We've got two different types of samples in the layout today. The LNER version of 5167 is a hand-decorated sample, so it is not an example of how it's going to be painted from the factory. The BR Black version of 69820, that is a factory-painted model and does show just how good these things are going to look when they do actually come out of the factory as well. They've got a 5-pole motor in them. They've got space for a sugar cube speaker in them, which I believe is going to be factory fitted to them as well. There's also a decoder socket in the coal space, so there's plenty of space for decoder to be fitted inside these locos as well. And they've also got a nice drive mechanism which gives drive to the centre driving axle and gives them plenty of power on the track as well, because there's a lot of die casting used in the body for these as well, which gives them some serious weight as well.
I was going to say the tanks, just handling them obviously die cast, it's very heavy. Which is very nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, that die casting, use of die casting in steam locomotives is becoming more and more common now. It's giving an easy way of adding weight without having to actually put it in the chassis. So taking these things apart, actually there's not that much to the chassis itself. It's really quite a simple chassis really, and all the weight is in the locomotive body, which gives you the adhesion, both giving you good pickup from the track for electrical continuity and also plenty of haulage capacity as well.
Which is all very fascinating. So what else can you tell us about them?
Okay, so there are more features with these as well. So you've got sprung buffers at all 4 corners of each locomotive. They've got NEM coupling pockets with small tension lock couplings fitted to them as well. There's also an accessory pack with each locomotive, and that does include a coal shovel and rake, as well as dummy screw link couplings as well. So lots of nice things to add to your locomotive once you've got it out of the box.
So we've got 2 very nice looking locos on the layout here today. Are there going to be any other liveries available?
There are, yes. So there's going to be a spectrum of different liveries through the career of the A5 tanks, which were originally classified as 9N by the Great Central Railway. So they will go right back to their original condition. So you'll be able to buy these in GCR lined green. You'll also be able to buy them in GCR lined green with LNER lettering. There'll be LNER lined black as well, and there'll also be BR lined black versions as well. So you've got a whole spectrum of different colour schemes as well, and there are also detailed differences within each one of those as well. So they have tools for things like, for example, 3-rail and 5-rail coal rails around the bunkers on them as well, and there's different domes as well to allow them to differentiate between periods of the locomotive's history.
Now, obviously, going from 1911 to 1960, that's quite a while. What kind of stock is around that we could run with them?
Okay, well, actually, you've got quite a lot of stock choice at the moment. I mean, less for the GCR period, but plenty once you get post 1923. So, for example, on the layout today, we've actually paired them with a couple of rakes of Hornby's suburban stock from the eastern region. So, our LNER version is 5167. We've paired that with a rake of Hornby Gresley Teak suburban coaches, the 51-footers, whilst our BR version is running with a mixed collection of Thompson and Gresley BR Maroon coaches as well. So plenty of stock around to run these with. Did run with other types of coaches as well, so you've got plenty of choice out there to run them with. But they were mainly passenger locomotives, very rare to see these with freight traffic.
So the burning question for those at home is going to be price and availability. Do we know more?
Well, we do know half of that story. So at the moment, we don't know the price, but we do know that they're aiming to have these out in late 2021 or early 2022. So not long to wait to add an A5 to your collection. I've got to say, I'm going to be in the queue to get one of these to add to my collection. I've got quite a few great central locomotives, and even though I don't always model what I'm collecting, it's the kind of thing that it's got to be bought and added to the box, even if it just sits there for a while.
You say that, we've got a great central layout.
We have, yeah, we've got to finish that. So.
Hopefully by 2022.
Yes.
So most people won't have heard of Sonic models just yet. However, they are the manufacturer. But of course, we need a retailer to be able to purchase and pre-order one. So who's the retailer?
That's right. So they're available exclusively from Rails of Sheffield, and they're available to order from their website or by their phone number as well, which you can find in the description with this video. And that is your place to buy a LNER A5, whether you want it in GCR, LNER or BR livery.
Wonderful. Well, as ever, do let us know down below in the comments which one is your favourite version. Is it the right loco for you? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this introduction to the new Sonic Models A5 462 for double O gauge. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.
Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
I'm Adam Davis of Rails of Sheffield Limited. We're a family-run business. We've been trading for over 50 years now. We've also been voted Retailer of the Year for the last 2 years running. We sell any age, any gauge, tens of thousands of items for all major manufacturers, Continental, American, from your N-gauge, Z-gauge, right up to live steam, ride-on. We do many in-house exclusives, all available on our website, railsofsheffield.com. The address here is 21 to 29 Chesterfield Road, Sheffield, S80RL.